All right, let us welcome in Tim Johnson. As you may have seen around a week or so ago, this man filled the spot that a lot of people in the heavyweight division were hoping to fill. He's scheduled to travel to Moscow, Russia to fight Fedor Emelianenko on October 23rd. Tim, first off, congratulations on getting the fight. How are you?
Thanks. Appreciate that. Doing pretty good. Life is, getting a little more hectic by the day, I guess.
I bet it is great to have you here. A lot to discuss with you. First off, we heard a lot of names in this conversation. You were preparing to fight for an interim heavyweight title against Fedor protege Valentin Baldovsky. When this news started to come that Fedor was coming back, how did this all happen? Like, what was sort of the timeline from that fight with Baldovsky for the interim title to landing this fight with Fedor in October?
Ready to head to right after the Moldovsky fight. Ready to head to the hospital, get stitched up, and I called the agent right away. I'm like, hey, throw my name in the hat for Fedor. I know there was a lot of names getting thrown around. I was like, well, I'm not going to like sitting around, and so yeah, just see what happens. Talking to him a little bit after that, it's like, oh, maybe there's other names or something. I didn't really know how much good of a chance I had, and yeah, they called me. It's like, hey, they decided on you, and yeah, that's kind of surprised by it. And that said, I wasn't expecting the backlash from it that I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction to this booking for some reason, just hasn't been met with a lot of positivity. Like Bellator's taken a little bit of a beating online because of it, because of some of the names that were thrown out there. And this is obviously no fault of your own, because you were offered a fight with one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, and you said yes to an opportunity. So I wanted to sort of give you the floor to respond to these folks who may not be looking kindly on this piece of business.
Yeah, I found two different trains of thought from people. One is people it's been a month, so people got to build up these fantasy, matchups in their head for a month and all that. And now when they announced it, there's some people that think that I'm either going to get smashed or whatever because they think I'm a shitty fighter. Or the other part is they think that Fedor is going to get smashed by me. They think it should have been two legends, not someone going like my age fight him. And here's the thing. Fedor had all the names in front of him as well. This isn't on Bellator. This is on Scott Coker. They gave him a list of names just as well. He picked me. The reason why I think he picked me is he got 25 minutes of firsthand experience. He doesn't want to. Fedor's a warrior. He's been in this forever. He doesn't want to go out there and get an easy knockout win or fight someone who's washed up. He wants to fight. And, he knows that I'm going to go out there and bring a fight to him. And it's not going to be easy. And, he's come back with your shield or on your shield type of personality. And that's why he picked me. And everyone hating on me, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go out there and freaking, try to knock off a legend. And yeah, I'm on roster and I'm ready to fight. Everyone else is hypotheticals. Here I am. I'm ready to go.
So people have actually been giving you personally grief about this, like on social media, and some people have been saying stuff to you. Really?
Well, no, just on like Twitter comments, but my name will be in their mouths when they like saying shit like that. Yes.
I mean, it's like you can have an issue with the matchmaking if you want, but it's not your fault. Like, what are you going to do? Say no to fighting Fedor? Like, seems a little ridiculous to me.
Exactly. Francis or Cyril, any of these guys, they had any heavyweight at any point in their career gets a chance to fight Fedor, they're going to fight him just because he is the greatest of all time. Like you cannot not take that fight. And I'm more than happy to do it.
I mean, you look at some of the names that Scott Coker had mentioned and other names that were just sort of sprinkled in, like Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Josh Barnett, who I talked to, he really wanted it. Even Jake Hager made a case for this fight. So, I mean, I know ultimately, and you, what was that face?
2 fights. You want to fight Fedor? No, then we'll move on.
I mean, Fedor picked you, obviously. It seems that was the case, but like, why do you feel that you were maybe the better or the right choice over all those other guys? I mean, again, it's not your problem. You're the guy who got picked, but why do you feel like you were the better guy?
For reasons, I think that, Fedor picked me because he knew that I was going to be a war. These other guys, for some reason or not, maybe Fedor thinks I'm going to be easy win for him. I don't know. Maybe that's why he picked me. I don't know. And I'm just going off of what some insiders, some people from that over that camp or that side of the world have kind of been telling me, and they have a lot of respect for me. They told me they like my style, they like the way I fight and the way I present myself. And everyone who doesn't want to turn into this or tune in and watch this for some reasons of they're angry at it or whatever, you'd be stupid not to watch this fight. If this is his actual last fight, this is going to be Fedor putting everything that he has into these rounds, into these minutes, into these seconds of this fight. He knows it will be his last one if it is, and it is going to be a war. He's not going to be, he's not going to get accidentally tapped on his jaw and drop. He's going to have to be taken out on a stretcher for him to want to come out of this fight, and that's what I'm preparing for. I'm preparing for Fedor 10 years ago, not Fedor, his last couple fights.
The fog, like the negativity that has appeared since this announcement's been made. This is MMA. Things change all the time. The news cycle frequently changes. Do you feel like the closer we get to this fight, the more the fog will fade away and nobody will have a big problem with it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the main problem is, like I said, everyone had this fantasy land of things people are like, oh, he'll fight, Brock Lesnar. Like, where the heck did that come from? I don't know. People it's just like, they just had this fantasy built up and then they're like, Tim Johnson, who the fuck's Tim Johnson? Well, fucking look me up. It's not my fault you don't know who I am. I've been in the game for quite a fucking while.
Do you feel like if the announcer was just like, I mean, I know you're already getting ready for a title fight, but if they just came out and said, Fedor's coming back October 23rd and fighting Tim Johnson, just without any of this other fantasy matchmaking, do you think like no one would have cared? Like it just would have been, cool, Fedor's back?
There'd probably been like 10% that would have cared. And the rest would have been like, oh, okay, well, we get to watch Fedor fight, So yeah, it is. Everyone just had this fantasy built up of, maybe it'll be a tag team match or something. I don't fucking
know. But the fact of the matter is you're getting this fight now. You are signed on to fight Fedor in Moscow. Like, how fired up are you for this opportunity just for yourself, man?
I'm stoked about it. My friends and family, everything that I like, they always scratch their head, but since I've been in like high school, I'm like, man, the one country I want to go see is Russia. Now I finally get to go to Russia and get to fight the greatest heavyweight of all time. And while I do it, I mean, it's like kind of a dream come true.
Just kind of going back to the Moldavsky fight, you came up short in your bid to become an interim heavyweight champion. I'm sure you've mentally moved on from that. You got something big on the horizon, but just kind of going back to that night and that fight in particular, like how do you look back on it around a month and a half or so later?
Yeah, I rewatched the fight a couple times and I had some friends, some coaches rewatch it and gave honest, unbiased opinion. I knew it was going to be a close fight at the end of the fight. I think that nice little headbutt cut where I was bleeding all over definitely kind of swayed some judges. But, I was happy. I was super happy with my performance. I'm not hanging my head about it at all. I think I surprised a lot of people that I could go 25 minutes. But no, they, the only thing I was really kind of disappointed was the judge who didn't give me one round. That was the only thing I was pissed off. I could handle the loss because I was happy with the way I fought, but it was like 20. Come on, 45, 50. What was that guy smoking?
I mean, it was a hard, grueling fight for 25 minutes, and I'm curious if you felt frustrated at times because at certain points you were like, "Come on, dude, let's go." You wanted him to engage a little bit more. What was it a little frustrating while you were in there?
I'm not a very animated person or fighter, I should say. When I get in there, I don't really kind of compose myself a little bit. And, I was just feeling it. I was feeling good. I was like, that's fine. I'm tired. We were going in circles. I was starting to get dizzy. I'm like, let's stop moving. Let's sit here and throw some leather.
Who knows what this crazy world is going to look like in October? I mean, obviously the plan is to do it in Moscow. You want enemy territory. And like you said, maybe this is the very last time that Fedor competes. At least it'll be the last time he probably competes in front of his home fans. How much does that add to this equation? Like, I know you've always wanted to go to Russia, but being able to be the American and go over there and fight a Russian hero, like you must be loving this.
No, I am. I definitely am. I imagine it was probably be a little more intense then when I went and fought in Brazil, I fought a Brazilian in Brazil. You know, that goes oodalay, oodalay. You know, I expect this to be even more intense than that. So, but I welcome it. It's fun. I mean, how many people in the world get to experience this in their lifetimes? That's the way I always look at stuff like this.
Scott Coker was asked about this during the last card in LA, and he said that because of COVID and everything, that he is planning on having some sort of contingency in place if for some reason this can't happen in Moscow. If that happens, like there might be a couple other locations they might be able to hold it. Does that lose a little bit of its luster in your eyes? Does it take a little bit of sizzle out of the steak if it doesn't happen in Russia?
It will a little bit. I'm going to be just speak frankly and honest. Yeah, I mean that's part of the lure of this whole thing is, you know, we're fighting in Russia, in Moscow, you know, and yeah, that would take some of it away, but still, it's Fedor. he, you know, he brings his own, you know, his own persona with whatever he fights. You know, it doesn't have to be in Russia, but he brings Russia with him. That's what I'll say.
I'm wondering how you're maybe factoring in like the mystique factor of Fedor, because I've talked to like fighters who have fought Anderson Silva and they don't think it's going to be a problem, but when they get in that cage with them and they look across and they see Anderson Silva, they're like, oh my God, I'm fighting Anderson Silva. And they kind of get lost in that for a couple of rounds. Have you thought about that, all? Like, is Fedor a guy that I mean, obviously you know who he is, but is he a guy that you followed and just been like, man, like this guy's the man, but now you're going to stand across and fight him? Like, have you thought about how you're going to handle that?
Yeah, it's crossed the head. I just going to treat it like, you know, hopefully everything when the door closes, that my body will take over, my brain will shut off, and we can just kind of fight.
Do you have a favorite Fedor moment, Fedor fight that you like to go back to and watch?
Not offhand.
Just the whole collection.
Yeah.
Getting the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, 28 straight wins. I mean, that itself is pretty amazing at heavyweight.
What will beating Fedor Emelianenko mean to you? Like, what does that do for you personally? Like, I know it does big things for your career, your legacy, to have that name on your resume, but what does that mean to you personally to be able to go into Russia, get a win over Fedor? Like, what will that mean to you?
I could forever hold that. You know, I could put that feather in my hat forever. You know, 20 years down the line when people are talking about the greatest ever and all that. Like, I fought him, and actually, you know what? I beat him. You know, it's be something cool to be able to say.
Right now, you're in Minnesota. You wear many hats. Tell the folks why you're in Minnesota right now.
Actually, I just flew into Minnesota today. I got to go up to Camp Ripley for a week of military training. So gotta check dot the I's, cross the T's, and make the check marks for all of our yearly tasks that we have to get done. So I'll be up there playing with C4, going out to the 240 range, qualing, and just kind of doing that old Army Guard thing.
There you go, man. How often do you have to travel to take care of that business?
That's once a month and 2 to 3 weeks a year. So like this one's actually condensed to 5 days, which is usually 2 weeks in the summer. But since we were deployed to Minneapolis for April, kind of, you know, took away from our training days. So they just kind of took away our training days and moved them all into like a little, I guess, compact version of our 2 week training.
What was that like being in Minnesota in April with everything going on, being deployed out there? What was that like for you?
It was interesting. I got called a few names, and yeah, no, but other than that, that was, like I said, just a little bit ago about fighting Fedor or something like that crowd. How many people get to witness that for stuff like that firsthand? I love, you know, kind of being in situations like that. I recognize that not everyone gets to be in those positions, and I take it to heart.
And here you are. And now you're going to go into that territory October 23rd. Tim, I appreciate you giving your thoughts on all this. I don't think any criticism at all should be thrown your way. It's kind of ridiculous. But any parting words for the fine folks tuning in or listening to this conversation right now before we let you go?
You know what? I think I'll just reiterate that if you don't want to watch this fight for some reason because you got a chip on your shoulder about me being the opponent, I would highly not recommend not doing that. This is you'd be stupid not to watch this fight. Like I said, Fedor is going to come out and be an animal, and I'm going to try to tame it.
There you go. Thank you so much, Tim. All the best to you in preparation for the big fight with Fedor. Enjoy Minnesota for the next several days, and right back after it, getting ready for Fedor October 23rd in Moscow. I appreciate the time, man.
Nope, absolutely. Thank you.